everybody. Beth here from Access Paranormal for this year's first I Want to Know, which is all about animal possession. Thank you so much for dropping on in and watching today's or this week's video. It's a bit of a many shades of grey type of topic, I must admit. Obviously that we'll go into a little bit more into the complexities of that as well. Hope everyone had a great Christmas break wherever you are in the world, whether it's freezing cold, boiling hot as it here is in Australia, here and particularly in Sydney. I'm in the throes of summer. Hey Karen, how are you? So yeah, there's it's a really complex type of subject. But firstly, as I mentioned, if you've got comments or ideas or thoughts about, animal possession, if you've experienced, and it doesn't mean necessarily demonic possession as well. It doesn't have to be about that. This is all different types of possession, whether it's good spirit or bad spirit or anything like that. Hi, Kaz, how are you, sweetheart? So it's all those kinds of different types of spirit possession. So as I said, we will touch on obviously the demonic side because it's the D word and everyone's quite au fait with the D word. Hey, sweetheart. Hi, Di. Good to see you, lovely one. So, yeah, animals, can they be demonically possessed or possessed by spirit in general? Now, of course, when we talk about these types of subjects, it's more about the fact of, the spirit realm or the afterlife hasn't been proven. So we talk from a subjective perspective. So if there was an afterlife, what would it be? So we've got to respect where science sits with this at the moment. But yes, what would happen if, an animal was possessed by an entity? What would it be like? Hi, Kat. Good to see you there. Hey, Gary, it's great to see you. And Shane as well. It's good to see you back here too. So first thing, as I said, spirit realm, that's what's happening. That's the logistics of it. So we need to respect and keep that in mind. Animals themselves obviously don't have the same complexive brain as we do. So they obviously are very empathetic. They're very self-aware. But whether or not they have a consciousness that lives outside of themselves, as we speculate for ourselves as well, is a completely different other story. So that's almost a whole other I want to know right there. They may also, again, can they comprehend a level of the spirit realm as well? And, can they, we know as for those of us who take on private cases or residential cases, that animals are meant to be quite sensitive to their environment. So if they're that sensitive to energies around or shifts and changes in people's behaviors, then maybe they would be sensitive to something that might be near them or possess them. So we'll go into a little bit about that soon, of course. Now, of course, there's spirit animals. People feel sometimes they've got their spirit animal with them. There are shapeshifters. So sometimes there are meant to be entities that will shapeshift into an animal. And there's that aspect of the realm as well. There's also, obviously, the D word, demonic. Demonic entities that will shape themselves into animals and actually present themselves as an animal as a way to trick people too. So animals really do filtrate through when it comes to thoughts of the afterlife and people's beliefs of the afterlife and experiences as well, which is really, really interesting. So, of course, as we know as humans, possession is very, very rare. It's very rare. If there is that at all, we have to take that into consideration. Hi, Harry Nate, how are you going? Hi, Glenn. So, of course, when it comes to animals, how rare is that going to be? Because there's the obvious language barrier. You can't say, hey, Fido, you're feeling a little bit demonically possessed. Doesn't work like that. So, it's a tougher situation to try and sort out if you ever happen to come across a case where someone says, I feel like my pet, there's something going down in Chinatown and I need it sorted, and I think it's a spirit. So it's a difficult situation to be in. As like I said, the language barrier is a big part of it. If the signs and symptoms of demonic possession are very similar to what they would be for a human. So for an animal, it would be a change in behavior. They get quite aggressive. They're not themselves. Also unusual strength as well they may display too. They can have an angry temperament, all that kind of stuff. Their eyes can appear to be quite different. People say there's facial connotations, or sort of contortion, my bad. But I think when it comes to an animal, it's a bit difficult because they are quite more restrictive. I think that's more from a human perspective. But there would be facial changes as well, like when they growl, they're really aggressive, they're quite animated more so than what they would normally be. And also they'd be quite unwell as well, so they'd be quite sick as individuals, animals as well. So they tend to list very, very similar symptoms, but again, these could also be explained by other means as well. Now, I've done a lot of information out there about animal possession, and I said a lot of this was kind of demonically focused because there is a lot of information about that out there. It's been from Ed and Lorraine Warren, from their experiences, and they have actually conducted what is known as possession, sort of exorcisms of animals themselves. So apparently they have done an exorcism on a dog, and apparently that had helped the dog feel better. There's also been exorcisms of a cat. Now, I know, being a cat owner myself, I know there's times I think she's possessed, especially what comes out of her. But I know that also Janelle, who, when I posted about this topic earlier, said that her cat occasionally acts quite strange, where it stretches up and its head turns almost a 360 degrees while it's stretching. So for someone who's not used to that cat acting that way, would actually probably take it to the latest church and have holy water on it. But if you can get a cat in the water, good luck to you. So keeping those things in mind, animals, you've got to know your animal very well. And of course, that's what happens when people report these kinds of phenomena to people like Ed and Lorraine Warren, is the fact the cat or the animal themselves has changed considerably enough for them to justify having to contact these people once, obviously for something like this. So I think there was another case as well where they actually did an exorcism on a horse. That's an interesting one as well. That was a case where they believed that there were satanic rituals being conducted in a barn, and the horse happened to be there at that time. So after that particular, and I don't know how they found this out, but after that particular situation, the horse was acting very differently. When the owner took it out for a ride, it would throw the owner off, it would try and stample on them and all this sort of stuff, and it was very unusual and unheard of. And at the same time, they had gone to a vet. The vet had the horse checked out, and the horse, apparently there was no reason why the horse would be behaving this particular way. So that's when they contacted the Warrens and had an exorcism performed on the horse. I don't know what happened at the time or how it behaved, but yeah, it actually had improved the situation as well. About the cat exorcism was where the owner woke up because they had taken this cat from a shelter, and they woke up one night with the cat on its chest, on their chest, and hissing and carrying on, and apparently there was a dark shadow attached to it as well. So these are kind of some of the reports that people have had where they felt they've dealt with a possession of spirit of an animal itself. Now, obviously, as we do as humans, if we're thinking something might be possessed by an entity, the first thing you do is you take it to a vet, get it checked out completely, physically, emotionally. You'd be surprised. Animals are incredible. As I said, my cat turns 19 in April at the time of this recording, and even now I'm still learning about how they behave and how intricate they are and how they're built, and it's just so vastly different to what we are. So what we may think how we'll behave or what we do with certain illnesses and environments is vastly different to an animal. So if you do have a pet and they are acting quite strangely and quite aggressively, there could be all sorts of physiological things going on as well as emotional as well. Your cat is damn weird sometimes too, Cat. I know. What is it with cats? Oh yes, Erie Nate, your cat had a demonic pet black dog. Oh goodness, which haunted his hangouts after he died. I want to read more of that comment soon, mate. It's gone a bit longer, so I want to actually read a bit more of that. That's really interesting because, again, people have said they've had demonic cats and demonic dogs, and everyone kind of jokes about it, myself included. But there can be some really interesting cases. Now, for me, because from what I've learnt so far about demonic possession and demonology and all that particular topic, in order for something to be demonically possessed, you have to invite it in. So what does an animal do in order for it to invite it in for something like that to happen? Like, is it an innocence, which some people may say that, that's why something negative might use, children or the appearance of children to entice people in, or, it's fascinates me because that means there's a certain level of consciousness and invitingness. I mean, there is an empathetic ability with animals, so maybe that's what could possibly be at play if that exists at all. Hi, Chrissy, good to see you, sweetheart. So that's something to keep in mind too. But again, like I said, if there's any cases that you're working on where you think something like this might be happening, do go and have the animal checked out by a vet as well, and thoroughly, physically as well as emotionally as well, because they can pick up on that kind of stuff too. So what are your thoughts? Do you think an animal can actually be possessed by a spirit? It doesn't actually have to be something demonic, but actually by a spirit itself. Would love to know your thoughts. Use the comment section down there as well. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube as well, as comments will be enabled too. So thank you so much. I will be reading back on your fabulous comments and your thoughts on this too. Hi there, sweetheart. And yeah, stay tuned for next week's topic. Thanks for watching.